Sunday morning. What's up, friends? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin Ryder. I'm a commercial real estate broker and content creator in Lexington, Kentucky. And this channel is all about doing deals and then helping deal makers with personal branding and productivity. In today's video, I'll be discussing the top 2 takeaways from my second completed book of 2024, which is the phenomenal Success is Never Final. This is the biography of Bill Marriott by Dale Van Natta. This book is jam-packed with grit, determination, building, basically anything a real estate entrepreneur wants to be reading on the weekends to recharge for the week. It is in this book. So I want to let you in on a little secret about me. So I'm now 4 years into this habit of devouring every single biography, autobiography, or memoir of a world-renowned deal maker or real estate entrepreneur that I can get my hands on. The point is to take the principles, the qualities, the characteristics that allowed someone to build a career over a life, not just one single deal, but a lifetime of deals. So this is a process I've really enjoyed. The benefit of it has been that I've been able to piece together this personal board of directors filled with people like William Zeckendorf or Bill Marriott or Conrad Hilton or Barbara Corcoran or James Rouse or others that provide to me the questions, the grit, the determination. Elements of their story have become elements of mine, and it's really helped me on a local level. Today, I want to invite you into that process. You get to build a personal board of directors of the world's greatest real estate entrepreneurs. Fascinating idea. But how insanely motivating is it to understand that this company began as a root beer stand in Washington, D.C., and has now grown to 31 brands across 8,000 properties and over 1.4 million hotel rooms around the world. It is totally worth getting into. Let's do it. Okay, so this is the 4th weekly recap that I've done in 2024, looking back on a week's worth of work, this one for the last week of January. So whether it be the deals I'm working on in process or the 31 cold call count, the 31 cold calls I got last week, making some great progress in business development, whether it's leading my team, whatever it is, I have absolutely been taking the principles from this book and applied it to my own life. So I want to caution anybody who's newer to the game. Real estate is not just local, it's ultra local. So you can't just read about the world's greatest real estate entrepreneurs and expect to build a career in the game. You got to get out and meet with the local deal makers that are making things happen in your community. However, this practice has allowed me to do 2 things really. Number 1, strategize and dream big for myself. I mean, these people were dreaming big dreams when they didn't have a lot of money, they didn't have a lot of deals, wherever they started from to wherever they grew from. So strategize and dream big. Number 2, it's provided me a ton of the questions to arm myself so that when I get down and sit down with local deal makers, I know what to ask. I know what they're thinking. And if you're just getting into studying deal makers or reading about them, I have a set of questions that I think would be helpful to share that I ask about almost every person that I encounter. They're questions like, what drove this person? What was their main motivation? What got them out of bed in the morning? Number 2, what were the key events in their life, especially the obstacles? And what were the mottos and mantras that allowed them to get through those obstacles to the other side? Number 3, why does their life make me more obsessed with being a better real estate entrepreneur and getting better at my craft? Number 4, and this is my favorite question, is where did this person get lucky? And on the other hand, where did they create their own luck? And that's a fascinating thing to look about with people. As an aside, I'll say about Bill Marriott, he was born into a multi-million-dollar company that his dad started in food service, restaurants, catering, but he also did something incredible, which was when he joined that company, which again is lucky how he was born in, he then began to carve out his own niche in hospitality, in hotels. Ultimately, that choice of his catapulted Marriott to the stratosphere and put them on the map for hospitality. They've long since sold or let go of all of the food service products. So he was born lucky. He also made his own luck. 5th question, how did this person approach deals? How did they walk into a room, or when they were doing acquisitions or selling stuff, how did they approach deals? Next question, one of my absolute favorites. What was this person's golden idea? So every real estate entrepreneur I've read about had 1 to 3 sort of golden ideas that you could kind of put up there that grew their wealth, grew their company. Quick example, In the 80s, Bill Marriott said, we've got luxury hotels and there's budget hotels. Why don't we strike in the middle, these moderately priced, business-friendly hotels? And they ran with that to extreme profitability. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, how should this story motivate us to become better people? Because honestly, that's what this is all about, right? Like this is not about just making money. It's about becoming a better person, about growing. And how does Bill Marriott's story help us grow into better people? As I ask those questions about this book, two takeaways emerged that I want to share with you today that I don't think you can miss, that I think can easily be added into your arsenal as you tackle deals. First principle, the author describes Bill Marriott's management style as MBWA, or what he calls management by walking around. Management by walking around. What does that mean? When Bill Marriott was a young man, he watched his dad show up to restaurants. He had a restaurant empire, so he would show up and talk to servers and cooks and dishwashers, and he was always sort of on the move. Bill adopted that same philosophy and took it into hospitality. JW once told a gathering of employees, "My biggest mistake is a nice office. I like it, my visitors like it, so I don't go and visit the hot shops like I should. When I don't, I feel something missing." Bill Marriott would literally adopt this for the rest of his career and visit 100 to 200 hotels every single year he would show up in person. He carried paint remover in his briefcase because he would usually show up and brush up against new paint and get it on his suit. No matter how many hotels were added to the Marriott stable, and no matter how old he was, Bill was determined to go to most of the full-service hotel openings and continue his inspection visits of 100 to 200 hotels each year. What is the principle for you and I right here, right now? Very simple. Get out of the office. Go. Becoming someone's trusted advisor is very difficult to do over email, text messages, on the phone. You got to get in person. You've probably been taught this, but one of my main mentors taught me in life, STP, go see the person, see the property, get out of the office. So this was a really cool reminder of something that I think will bring you a ton of success. The second principle from this book that I'll never forget reading about was the fact that Bill Marriott, quote, led by consensus, end quote. Now, Bill would have had every right to be ego-driven, to lead with pride, to be authoritative, and to order people around. But he had a fascinating experience as a young man that changed his life forever, right? So small moments, huge impact. And it's recorded in his biography that he spent what was supposed to be an afternoon of hunting with his dad, J.W. Marriott, and the president at the time, Ike Eisenhower. So in this encounter, J.W. Marriott had said to Eisenhower, even though it was 40 below, that they could go out bird hunting, which is what they're supposed to do. And Eisenhower turned to Bill Marriott, who was a young man at the time, and he said, "What do you think we should do?" And Bill was absolutely struck back. He was young. Sure, he was accomplished, a great leader, well-spoken, but why would the president of the United States ask, "What would you like to do?" I could see almost immediately how a man of his stature could deal with egos like Montgomery, Patton, Churchill, de Gaulle, and Stalin during World War II. He gave them the respect of asking and considering what they thought. It was then said about Bill Marriott for the rest of his life that he managed this company by consensus. He was no stranger to asking people, "What do you think?" to turning it to them, to bringing the best out of them, to empowering them. Bill, quote, just doesn't have a big ego. So he's got an unusual style based on management by persuasion and not power. Bill often harked back to Christmas of 1954 when he felt empowered by Dwight D. Eisenhower because the president had asked him, "What do you think?" To me, this is a great reminder to speak less and listen more. It's a great reminder to stop, and regardless of who is on your team and what authoritative position you are in running deals and commanding the room, to stop and look around and say, "What do you think?" to people. So those are two characteristics that I took away, and I really appreciate you joining me today. Do me this favor. I'm currently planning a podcast that's going to be a little bit like this, where each episode tackles a real estate entrepreneur. Honestly, on a podcast, the sort of long form audio, we will have opportunity to go into more things like the time Bill almost died and was sort of miraculously saved in a boating accident. More of that father-son relationship that was tumultuous and inspiring. More of what to do, more of what not to do, but ultimately someone who grew a personal fortune to $2.5 billion and did it in a humble way. If you have a real estate entrepreneur that you love, whether it's a book or snapshot of that person, drop them down below in the comments. Who knows, they could end up on this channel or maybe on that podcast, but that's a work in progress, and I'm actually gonna update this channel in the near future with some of that progress. Hey, thank you for joining me today. It's a great Sunday. Let's get fired up for February. This is recapping the last week of January. I don't know about you guys. I'm having a blast this year, so let's keep tackling it. Thanks for joining.